Hi, this is David at MASH IT. Now, following on from the recent M17 R3 review, I wanted to have a look at the different GPU tiers that you get. So I've got in a 2060 and a 2070 Super. And what I wanted to see is an extra £350 in the UK as an upgrade for the 2070 Super worth it over the 2060? So what I've basically done so far through this video is I've benchmarked, I've done a load of synthetic benchmarks, and I've put a load of games on exactly the same settings where possible. And I've run through a load of tests to try and give us some results to work out whether that £350 of your money is worth the upgrade to the better card. Now, straight off the bat, the differences between these cards: obviously the 2070 has more CUDA cores. It also has 8GB of GDDR6. Now, although that's great, unless you're playing on an external monitor, you can probably still get away with 6GB, as these are 1080p high FPS screens. So you need to ask yourself, do I really need that extra 2GB? And is the extra performance I'm seeing between these necessary for the games I'm playing? So hopefully this video is going to help you make that decision. Now, basically what I've done here to start this review off, I'm running Unigine Valley on both of these machines. What I want to just draw your attention to straight away is both of these GPUs are running at 115 watts on average. So even if you're buying the 2060, you're not having the power limit gimped on this machine, which is really nice, because on a lot of other laptops you'll find that the 2060s have got a 80 or 90 watt power limit, which really hurts the 2060's performance. Whereas as these are both running at the same wattage, the only difference you've got is the higher specs that the 2070 Super has over that 2060, because it can't spread its legs like the desktop cards can by having a higher power. So straight away I'm running the Extreme HD preset on Unigine Valley, and you can see straight away, looking at the frames per second, and they are very similar parts to the actual same screen, on the whole you're looking at about 20 to 30 extra frames per second between these two cards. That is quite a big difference for the jump up from the 2060 to 2070 Super. But what we're going to look at next is how it translates in synthetic benchmarks and then real games, and then I'm going to give you a conclusion and tell you, like, for an extra £350 what you're getting extra frames per second on the sort of the common games that I will often play on these machines. Right, so we're going to start with the synthetic benchmarks, and as I'm using Valley in the background here, we're going to start with that one. Now, the 2060 scored 3,349 on this extreme preset, whereas the 2070 Super scored 4,436. That gives it a 32% increase in performance on the 2070 Super. That's quite a nice boost over the 2060. But you'll often find in synthetic benchmarks it doesn't translate, so we're going to keep going down through the list. The next we look at is Firestrike. We scored 17,441 in Firestrike on the 2060, as opposed to 22,052 on the 2070, which is 26.4%. So again, not bad performance. On Time Spy, we got 6,801 on the 2060, as opposed to 8,571 on the 2070 Super. So again, that's 26%, so quite good percentages here. But when we move over to the actual gaming, again, it's not as big a difference in some of the games here. The first one, which there is a big difference, we looked at, is Apex. Now, we scored 82 frames per second on average on the 2060, and 125 frames per second on the 2070 Super, which is a whopping 52.4% difference. Now, the reason that has such a large difference is because it had the extreme texture pack on, which takes it over the 6GB of the 2060. So this shows you, if you are out of your video memory buffer, that you will obviously hit a wall and slow down your frames. So 50% difference on that one there. Now, obviously what you could have done is dropped the texture pack down just to high instead of the epic, and then your frames would have been much better. But I wanted to sort of highlight what happens when you run out of video memory. On Warzone, we scored 82 on the 2060 and 98 on the 2070 Super, which is a 19.5%. Again, it's not a bad performance difference. Dota, 180 on the 2060, 185 on the 2070 Super, 2.8% difference. So you can see Dota is more of an esports title. It's quite easy to play. You can play that on anything. So if that is your sort of game of choice, then 2060 would be absolutely fine. The Warhammer, we're looking at 84.8 on the 2060 to 99.3 on the 2070 Super. That's 17.1%. And Tomb Raider was 86 on the 2060 to 104 on the 2070 Super, so 20%. So you're talking on average about 18% across the board, apart from the Apex where it ran out of graphics memory. So about 18% difference. So in my mind, all of the games when I was playing on both of these laptops, which is a 144Hz panel, and I was running max settings, I would normally, if I was playing, I would be dropping the settings down a bit anyway to get myself a more competitive advantage. But all of them were playable. You know, you could have given me each machine, and if you'd have taken the frames per second off, and I wouldn't have been able to tell the difference. So in my eyes, I would be buying, I think, the 2060 over the 20 Super and saving the £350, unless I knew I was being playing games where I'm going to be needing more than 6 GB. Or maybe you're going to be keeping this laptop for a few years, and therefore you want to future-proof yourself by having that extra 2 GB. I know personally, I always think I'm going to future-proof myself with a laptop, but I end up changing it within a year to 18 months anyway, because the next big graphics card or processor will have come out, and I can't help myself, I'll buy a new one. So, in conclusion, I would definitely say, me personally, I would save the £350 and I would get the 2060 on this laptop. Now bear in mind, not all 2060s are created equal. The Alienware is brilliant at just letting graphics cards run to their maximum specs, which is the 115 watts on this machine. If you buy a Max Q or another brand, you may find you're only getting 80 or even less in some cases watts on the 2060. So if you are not buying an Alienware, make sure you're looking at the brand you're buying and what they are actually supplying with the 2060 or 2070, etc., because that can make a big difference. But on these, where they're let to run at their maximum 115 watts, the 2060 is such a good card, I would definitely save the money personally. Well, that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And what I've basically done after this conclusion, I'm going to run all the games I've tested side by side so that you can have a quick look yourself and look at some of the footage and compare the temperatures and the frames per second. And there'll be timestamps down below if you want to go to a particular game. And there will be more content coming on these Alienwares. We've also got an Area 51M R2 on its way, so we're going to be looking at that as well soon. So please subscribe and hit the notification bell if you wish to see more on the other Alienware laptops that are available. Thank you for watching.
I'm the jump master. Ready up. Let's land here.
Extended supply bin here. I love things, but more things is even better.
First blood. Gotta be someone. Glad it's not one of us.
Heads up, not all of us are in the ring.
Hold tight.
Thank you.
Got your back. Replicator type.
Recharging my
Dropping the
shields.
pain.
Falling.
Down to target.
Setting up a zipline.
Someone's got a shot on me. Care package.
Give my shields a recharge. Care package coming in.
Got your back.
Giving my shields a
Shot at. Reloading.
Dust to the last one.
Job's a proper warm-up. We'll be deploying soon. Enemy soldier incoming. Enemy dropping into the AO. Enemy dropping into the AO.
Your turn in line. Taking fire!
You're done warming up. Stand by for deployment. Done warming up. Stand by for deployment. Enemy dropping into the AO.
Anyone need this?
All right, Battle Royale.
Drop
point.
there!
So the drop
Let's
point's
open
your
some
lead,
lucky
soldier.
Does anyone need this? Drop there or not?
Targets are up. Get to work. Eliminate all targets in the AO.
Open the boiler.
Bristleback!
Prepare for battle.
By all means. Ah! Here we go. His faces need mashing. Flat busted. Time for a good scrap. Attack! Denied. Yes, indeed. Oh, indeed. First blood. First blood. Come on, jigs on the chins. Sis? Back again, sis? Back again? What do you know? By all means. Not yet. You're that one step at a time. Oh, slice. This ain't how I'm picturing. Yes.
Don't think ill of me.
Here we go. Boy, stop whining. I'm back. Good scrap. His faces need mashing.
Bottom.
Yes. It's not time yet, mate.
Middle is missing.
By all means. Bit of work to do. Feast. Yes. Boy, one step at a time. One step at a time. I'll sort this out. Bit of work to do. I'll sort this out.
Middle is
For
missing.
your trouble. I'm under attack. Here we go. Now Quilled in the line of duty. Yes! By all means. Love it. You don't say. I'll sort this out. Aye, indeed. I'll sort this. Here we go. Excuse me. Bit of work to do. There's more that came. That way. Indeed. Sorry for it. No! Serve you right. Here we go.
Middle is missing.
You seem tough.
Here we go again. One step at a time. Flat busty. You wear it well, mate. His faces need mashing. Put your lights out. A dash of the honey. His faces need mashing. Bit of work to do. Top's gone missing. Here we go.
Prepare